something different.
No groovy bass tones. He just kicked it right off.
That was awesome.
We just got back.
No foreplay, just right.
Ladies and gentlemen, you got 30 extra seconds of us right now. Thanks to Jamie. All right, Dan. Why don't you go ahead and what's that?
And it's gone.
It's gone now. Dan, kick us off and give us all the information on Deadman.
All right. Well, he first appeared back in October of 1967 in Strange Adventures issue 205. He was created by Arnold Drake and the legendary Carmine Infantino. His real name is Boston Brand, and he was a trapeze artist, in a circus performing under the name Deadman. During one of the performances, he was murdered by a guy named The Hook. He was reincarnated by the Hindu god Ramakrishna, who gave his spirit the ability to possess any living creature so that he could find his murderer and get justice. And as far as powers go, that's pretty much it. He's a disembodied spirit that can take over people's bodies. While he takes them over, he's in control. They have memories of what happens after he leaves his body, other than if it's been for a long time, they're very tired and worn out, like he's done with some of them. And then when he takes over their bodies, he, to the extent that he can do his skills for them, depending on what they are physically, he can do all of his, all of the stuff that he's skilled at. And one thing I thought, and I know Gary mentioned it on one of the other shows a couple weeks ago, one thing that I initially thought of when looking at Deadman's origin is how similar it was to the TV show The Fugitive, which had only come out, I think, 2 or 3 years before Deadman was introduced. And, if you don't know The Fugitive, that's where the main character, Richard Kimball, was wrongly accused of killing his wife, who she was killed by a one-armed man. So she's killed by a one-armed man that he has to go on the hunt to find. Deadman's killed by a man named The Hook, who has the hook hand that he has to go on the hunt to find.
Pam is right. Very similar to the Spectre, too. Yep.
Yeah.
No apologies, TJ.
Oh, you're all good, TJ. Glad you're here tonight.
Catch him on, YouTube.
That's right. We're happy to have you back, brother.
Welcome all.
All right.
He was busy reading Hulk 180 again.
Yeah, he probably was. That's what he was doing. Hulk 180.
Absolutely.
Trying to get all the first appearances in order so that way he can let us know when we're wrong.
Deadman's first appearance was Hulk 180, if I remember right.
Yeah, 180. 180, then Strange Adventures.
It was the last panel, wasn't it?
The very last panel.
Very last panel.
Well, he was Deadman's first appearance.
He was possessing Wolverine at the time. So there's an aura around Wolverine that was Deadman.
Okay.
No, well, his first appearance was in Strange Adventures 205, but Strange Adventures 205 first appearance.
There you go. Absolutely.
Someone was reading the comic as they were sitting there at the bar with Wolverine.
It was just a few weeks ago that our After Dark showcase was all those Strange Adventures books.
Yes, it was. That was a great showcase.
Amazing.
That was awesome.
No.
All right,
but real fast, I want to throw it out to the chat, guys. Again, do not forget, super chats are open and memberships are open, where you're going to get exclusive content from us if you guys sign up. It's not that much. Trust me, I made it as affordable as possible. If you guys decide to, we are very appreciative, and you guys will be a certified member and have your own perks with our shows. So make sure you go over, check that out if you guys get a chance to. And thank you in advance for people who do.
Yes, indeed. Get those perks, ladies and gentlemen. Those perks. Get them while they're hot. Anyhow, all right. So let's go ahead and before we jump into the nitty gritty, give a shout out to our sponsor, one of our sponsors tonight, and that is W Energy Drink. Head on over to w.gg and use the code -X to save 10% on any order. It is some great clean energy drink. There's no bad aftertaste. There's no sugar crash. There's no jitters. It tastes 100% better than anything out there on the market. So go check them out. Like I said, use the code -X and save 10%. That's w.gg, ladies and gentlemen. Check them out. All right. So our first segment of the night is what works best for this character. And Uncle Gary, if this was your character tonight, I am going to let you start. Give us what works best.
I think this was Jamie's character.
This is my pick.
Oh, then Jamie's
character.
No,
you
I
go
don't, Jamie,
first.
sorry. No, I don't want to go now. I don't feel it
Oh.
as important.
The disrespect.
All right, Uncle Gary,
Someone's
the
about to
floor is yours.
All right. Well,
Now Jamie's going to go last.
well, Sal, man, boy, poor Sal.
Hey, by the way, you can't act like me. You got to change your name.
I did change it earlier. Okay, well, I'll change it again.
Yeah. We can't have two. We can't have two.
two J Dubs,
Yeah,
2 J-Dubs.
J Dub squared.
J-Dub squared.
never. There's never a duplicate.
Could the
only
real
the original.
J-Dub please
That
stand
mold was
up?
broken, right, my friend?
Yeah.
So
All right, Uncle Gary, I'll let you take this one.
okay, I'll take this one. So, I know that Jamie picked this because this is he's a really cool character, and like Pam had alluded to, there are a lot of similarities to the Spectre, with being killed and all, but his power set I think is really interesting and really cool, and it was kind of novel that that he's a disembodied spirit unless he can possess people and take them over, and I think that's a really cool way to have a hero operate, that he can't interact with the real world unless he's possessing people, and Deadman can still partake in some pleasures of the flesh when he is possessing people. So he has enjoyed feeling things again, let's say. So I like it when he generally, because his life was one of where he was mainly concerned with him. It was all about him. And in death, he's become someone that is more about others. So I don't know what Dan's laughing at.
Sal changes the name again.
Beast
know
of the
in a
True
second.
Avenger. You know what? When Sal's right, he's right.
Yeah.
Tonight, he's really right. He's really right.
100%. Yeah.
100% right. So I'm glad.
I don't like they. Oh, it's like you're still typing. Don't be changing my name again.
So
Yeah.
So when Boston Brand is changing, I guess his morality and how he deals with people, and when he's taking people over and trying to do the best for them, that's when I really like the character, and it's just such a kind of a tortured existence to be there and have hardly anyone know he's there. I really love it when he's messing with Batman and he's possessing Batman, and Batman just hates it, just freaking hates it all the time. And it's kind of cool that when people start acting funny around him, that Boston, when he's possessed people, his bat radar goes off, and he's like, "Brand, is that you?"
Yeah.
Or Boston, is that you? So it's kind of like I think Boston Brand is living rent free in Batman's head, because he's always wondered if that's Boston. So that's what I like. I like him when he's kind of a antagonist a bit and kind of messing with Batman a little bit, but he's also he's trying to work for the greater good, and he's trying to make amends for living I guess kind of a self-centered life. So that's the Deadman I like.
All right. Very cool. All right, Jamie, you could go next.
Are you
What
sure?
works? All right, unless you're going to fire me again.
Why not? No, I'll go again. I'll go.
I was going to say, wait a minute, you're going to fire me again.
Yeah, just every time. No, but I gotta agree with Gary that skill set's great. But I also like the fact when he is more against the grain than he normally is, and what I mean by that is when he actually takes charge and knows that he's got to do something, and just takes over whoever he needs to do it. I think his possession is my favorite part, no matter what character he's doing that to. Just to be able to take somebody, manipulate them, and basically be like, "You're mine now. I need to use you. You're a vessel. We're going." That is the best part of him, because you never know when he could show up, and that's the unexpectedness of him. So that's my favorite way Deadman should be portrayed.
And some people get killed while he's taking them over.
Yeah, and it's and he's like,
yeah.
"Oh, I kind of screwed up there."
Yeah.
Sorry.
My bad.
My
That's
He
bad.
for
just
you.
gets out right before they get shot too. It's hilarious.
All right, Dan, why don't you go ahead next on there?
Yeah, it is funny when he takes someone over and then when he leaves them and they're like,
Where am I?
Where
"Where the
am I?
How did I get here? Like, why are my legs
Yeah.
so sore?" Yeah, I like how when his character started off, he was a selfish, self-centered prick, and he dies, and the only thing that he was concerned with was finding the killer, and as he went on, he started, especially at first, started finding a way to spend a lot of time around his brother and the other carnival folk that he lived with when he was alive, and start helping them, and then decided to stick around and kept helping people, and then while he would be depressed that he was this disembodied spirit, would kind of become fun loving swashbuckling type at
Thank
times.
you, Marcus.
And yeah, and then like Gary too, like I love it when he's just annoying
Yeah,
the shit out of
absolutely.
Batman. And I couldn't remember which issue it was because I was gonna put it on here for something, but it was some issue where where Batman's just straight up yelling at him, and I can't remember what he said, but he's just yelling at him like get out of here, Brandon.
All right.
Yeah, so the two of them are, I feel like are made, made to go well to play against each other.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. For me, I'm just gonna parrot everybody here. I mean, possessing people, I think, is his one best strength. That's his job. That's his method. That's his MO. He has to do it. I do like when he messes with Batman. That's always classic. The team up with who said there was a team up on there? I forget who it was, but someone said there was he is a good team up. There it is, Marcus. Thank you very much. Oh,
Yeah.
That's it. Deadman do tell tales. Yes, he does. But yes, I think the team up between him and Batman is always good. And like Gary said, Batman's got that bat radar goes off. It's like, Boston, are you here again? It's what are you doing now? But yep, I believe like what Dan said, he was a prick in the beginning, but he's grown into this character now that wants to honestly help and do the best that he can, helping people while he's been dead. So that's what I think works best with him.
There's even an instance in one of the Brave and the Bold team ups where Batman put an ad in the newspaper that he needed Deadman, and some coded message, and Deadman happens to see it and then goes to Batman. So Batman even put an ad in the paper for Deadman, which is kind of silly.
Dead man.
Yeah.
For team up against bad guy.
Yeah, while y'all are talking, if I can find it, I'll let you know. Look at this big.
Okay.
Right next to him.
Look at that. Why don't you just peruse that volume for us?
Yeah.
While we go on
before
here.
the show's over, maybe I'll find it.
Yeah. All right, so let's go on to our next segment. It's critiques and criticisms and stuff that we don't like about the character. So I'll go first on this one because I couldn't really find too much that I didn't like about this character. This is one of these characters that I didn't know a lot about until I started doing research for the show, read a couple of stories, and I found what I liked, but I couldn't really find what I didn't like. He's just, one of those characters. I think the only way he'll be bad if he's written bad. So yeah. I prefer him in a small team up situation, 1 to 2 people solving a problem or solving a murder or helping in a situation. I don't think he would work well in a big team, but in a small 2 to 3 person team, he is perfect for. So that's what I think. Jamie, what do you got?
So my biggest criticism with him is the fact that it's how can I put this? I had the thought process earlier for it, but it's literally when his utilization isn't utilized, like possessing people and going forth and doing that. But there's literal people he'll like go into and they're like, yeah, just leave. You're annoying. And he just goes. Like there's nothing leading past that. Or they'll ask him something and just for advice. And he's not doing anything as part of the team. Like he shouldn't be this like back character that they're just going to for anything. You know what I mean? He should be a prominent player. Like as far as, having his own series, which I'm surprised he still doesn't, even now.
Hmm.
So
Okay. All right, Dan. Why don't you go next with what you got? Since Gary's still
I'm still looking.
perusing there, so Dan, you go next.
Kind of what you said, how it could come down to writing. That's what it is for me, especially when you read some of his, his early books right when he became Deadman. If you're reading them, to me, it didn't make much sense. Like, okay, they're in a
What's up, Doug?
situation, and the the good guy that was his friend when he was alive, or his brother is there, and then there's someone that pulled a gun on him is getting ready to shoot him. So he jumps into his brother so that he can like do some kind of elaborate move to get out of the way or something. I'm like, jump into the guy with the gun. Like, don't jump into the
target.
into the good person and do all this crazy stuff. Jump into the guy with the has the gun and have him drop the gun and say, "Hey, put the cuffs on me. I'm ready to be arrested." And then jump out of them when they're all tied up. But again, that, like you said with writing, that comes down to if they did that all the time, these stories would end up being pretty
Right.
boring.
2 pages long. Oh, there's the bad guy. Let's hop into him.
Yeah, but that's what I got reading. Like I said, his early appearances, more so his early appearances, is you're jumping into the wrong person. Like, this doesn't make any sense.
All right, Gary.
All right, well, I'm giving it up. I think what works, I think sometimes they make the character too dumb. They make him, they make him like he's just just like a dumb carny. And, I think he's smarter than that. And I don't, I don't like it when they dumb him down so much. And I think he's a hard character to write in a lot of ways because it's, you have to really, so a monthly book on him, I think, is kind of challenging. I love him as, a part of Justice League Dark when they use him in there.
Yeah.
He fits that group really well. But I just think sometimes they try to make him just a little too, just not as bright as maybe he should be. I mean, I do like the language because the language he uses is pretty colloquial and it's very, very, very full of slang and all that, which is great, which is what he would be. But that doesn't mean he's not intelligent. So sometimes I just, it's just, he floats around bewildered, I think, a little too much for me, where he's just aimless.
Okay. All right. So why don't we go ahead and then jump to our badass moments? And Uncle Gary, you can kick this one off.
All right.
Just some badass moments.
All right. So my badass moments for Deadman.
Or in that thick volume, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. So just generally what I think is a badass moment is just how he's constantly possessing Batman. So it's it's an ongoing thing that he does, and Batman, who does have a strong will, and there have been occasions where he has kicked them out, where he really has focused and he's kicked them. I agree with that, Marcus. I agree with that a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, I look at that what he said as Marcus said as a writer. I'm like, man, I would hate to write a character like Iron Man or Mr. Fantastic who's a genius because I'm like, I'm dumb. How am I going to write that?
Absolutely. So just the fact that he possesses Batman against his will. So I just think that's great, and it really annoys the hell out of Batman because he does not like it at all. So I enjoy that a lot. And then the second one is not so much a badass moment, but it was a jaw-dropping moment for me. Absolutely jaw-dropping. So I have all the appearances, the Strange Adventures. I have his Brave and the Bold appearances. I probably have every Deadman appearance. But the one that made me drop my jaw was in Blackest Night 8, when Deadman lived, when he was alive. The whole raison d'etre for him is to be dead, and he was alive. And that, for me, when he takes the mask off and he's living, that to me was so cool. That great gatefold, fold out in that book where you saw those 12 characters come back to life, but seeing him was the most shocking of all. To see him flesh and blood. So not so much a badass moment that he made happen, but just a badass moment that and jaw-dropping moment that he was a part of. And then the last one I have is in Brightest Day 24. You know, he's got the white ring, and here he's been in the Brightest Day series. He's been kind of cautious with his life, where he is really enjoying being alive. He's in love with Dove, and they have a relationship. And he's not one to take chances because he doesn't want to die again. And Boomerang throws a razor sharp boomerang at Dove with the intent to kill her because he's been instructed to. And it goes through Hawk's hand, and it's still on target to hit her, and he jumps in the way, and it hits him in the chest and kills him. So that life that was so precious to him, he sacrifices in order to save her. And then that life, his death, was what brought about the fact that Alec Holland would be resurrected to take on the avatar of the Black Lanterns, which was a giant, bad Swamp Thing, dead Swamp Thing. So that couldn't have happened without a life being sacrificed, and his was the life that was preordained to be sacrificed. So yeah, Marcus, that was a shocking thing to, again, the whole reason for this, the whole, makeup of this character is he's dead, and to see him alive and he takes off his mask, that was just amazing. But when he sacrifices that newfound life to save Dove, to me, that's a badass moment, because the thing he was trying the most to prevent, he willingly sacrificed himself, and not only did he save Dove, he saved everybody. He saved the world, by that life essence that he needed to transfer from him into Holland to create the new avatar, of the Swamp Thing that saved the world. So that sacrifice, that ultimate sacrifice, is what did it for me.
Absolutely. Actually, that's one of mine as well. All right, Dan, what do you got then for yours?
Well, that was mine. that was my number one. I'm sure, like you said, I'm sure we're not the only ones, but yeah. So Gary covered it pretty well in Brightest Day 24. Sacrifices himself, saves Dove, gives a White Lantern ring to Alec Holland. Alec Holland becomes Swamp Thing, kills the bad Swamp Thing. World is saved. So it doesn't. I mean, that's my number one for him. It doesn't really get more badass than sacrificing yourself to save the woman that you love and save the entire world. But then also in Night Terrors, Night End, a real recent one. It was a very Deadman centric story, and at the end of it, he sacrifices himself to stop Insomnia, who's the big bad of the whole story. And we really don't know what's going to happen after it. Like, presumably, Deadman will come back. He's been around for so many years that, over 50 years now. Like, he's going to come back. Right now, he's done. He willingly gave himself up and, went on to find his peace. So I got to have that on there. And, again, like, at least for now, that, that's final. The other one I have is, it's not a major one, but it's one that I, kind of thought was pretty cool. It's from this book called Christmas with the Superheroes 2. He sees this rich guy who is just a total jerk, and it's around Christmas time. So what he does is he takes over the body of the rich guy and uses that guy's money to buy Christmas gifts for all of his friends that are in the circus.
Nice.
I like that.
Expensive gifts too. And for the woman that he, kind of had a relationship with, at first he was just going to buy this bottle of this like really fancy I was going to say shampoo, like perfume. But then he goes, you know what? Send her a case. And this guy had also, right before Christmas, like a couple weeks, before it, or a week or two, he had bought this company. It was like a corporate raider had bought this company and then laid off 50,000 people like that. And it was right before Christmas time. So the last thing he does before he jumps out of this guy's body is he has it set so that he's giving each one of them 6 weeks severance pay right there before Christmas, and that's 6 weeks severance pay for 50,000 people. And then he even kind of says something too when he or thinks to himself when he jumps out, and he's like, "Yeah, I'd like to see his face when he sees those numbers come through."
Yeah, that is great.
So
That
yeah,
is
those
awesome.
are so those are the three I got. So what about you, Jamie? What do you have?
So Uncle Gary had one of them, which was Bright as Day. But I want to add on to that a little bit because in the Hawk and Dove miniseries, there's another badass part because he is still dead and he's still dating Dove. You know how much game you need to be dead and still be dating someone alive?
Yeah.
Some people can't even do that alive. So to me, that's a badass moment all in itself. The other one is within Night Terror is just him taking over Batman and Batman literally just being like, "Can you just get out of me?" Like and fighting it the entire time, being like, "Boston, please, just I'm trying to solve this right now." And he's like, "I gotta do this for us, man." And my last one is a little bit different, and I kind of hope you guys get the idea of it, but it comes out of Injustice, and that's when Nightwing takes over as Deadman. Because I feel like the two characters are so similar in their origin,
Right.
and all you have to do is transfer the parents dying and him, and you got Deadman. And I thought it was a cool, like a badass moment to have that kind of like behind the scenes like idea, like, well, he's kind of like him. What happened if he was just Deadman? You know,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
that whole series was based on, and I thought he played it up amazingly.
All right, very good.
That's good.
All right.
I like that juxtaposition.
Yeah, that's a good one. So, I totally forgot about Night Terrors, but we won't worry about that. But I have a couple moments, and one of them was the Blackest Night and the Brightest Day. I counted them as one separate one, but because they were equally badass for me. And I have the only one that's different that you guys didn't mention was Batman sends Deadman to possess Jason Blood's body, and then thereby invoking the power of Etrigan.
Yeah.
So that's pretty badass right there.
And he
Not only-
held on to it for a little while.
And he did
He possessed
He did.
Etrigan for a little while before he got kicked out.
before he got kicked out. So
Yeah.
that in itself is just badass. To possess the guy that brings out the demon, and then you have the demon as well. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, so for our next segment of the night is going to be top covers. Jamie, would you like to kick off our top covers of the night?
Yeah.
Go ahead, show us your top covers.
Oh, like him.
Yeah, so I got for the first one is Night Terrors. This is the B variant,
That's
and
awesome.
it just literally screams badassness. I just love it. Like the colors just pop. Everything on it is just, to me. I actually have this gonna be on the wall here soon. The second one was one that actually got me into Deadman. That's the series DC Universe Presents from the New 52, because I didn't know much about him up until the New 52, and then I kind of just started going back. So that's one cover I love. Him chained. It kind of has a symbolic, like, I'm still chained to the dead because I can't be alive feel to it. And then obviously Strange Adventures 205, probably one of the most iconic covers for it. So
Yep.
you got
Most
you
definitely.
can't talk Deadman without having that cover.
Absolutely. And the middle one is one I almost used, Jamie. I mean, I love that cover.
Yeah, and I just love how he's just being held back and he's still looking like he's
Mhm.
trying to fight forward.
Yep. And that Carmen
that's-
Infantino cover of 205 is fantastic. And I mean, that is, that is just a great origin story. And even back then, look at he still had that great logo.
Injustice.
Yep.
Fuji.
All right, why don't you go ahead and show us Dan's next?
We're going with Dan next.
Yep. Then me and Gary will wrap up this segment.
Oh, great covers.
All right, yeah. So the one we'll start with the one all the way on the left end, Strange Adventures 207. So that was only a couple issues in after he after he was introduced, and I believe that won cover of the year when it was released, and it's just
That's also when Neil Adams took over the art in the book too.
Yeah, and it's fantastic, because reading that every issue, it kind of started. It was almost episodic, like like the way that well, we'll get into that later. But it was cool having all the faces on there and him, kind of wondering what was going on. Then in the middle, we have Deadman Exorcism #1, which I just, it's the black background, and then you just see him, the red and the white, and it stands out really well. And like it looks, the way Kelly Jones drew it, just looks like this emaciated horror, amazing, disturbing kind of cover.
And the logo is ghostly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then all the way on the end is the Deadman #1, which that's from his the first volume of his series, which is
that's when they reprinted it. Those are the reprints.
It reprints the Strange Adventure books. But yeah, it's just such a fantastic Neil Adams cover, and you see the ghost above the dead body, and the facial expression is just so great. So
that is pretty awesome. All right. Why don't you bring up my covers next? Okay, so starting all the way over there on the left is Deadman Volume 3, number 2.
I got that one on the rack behind me.
There you go. Was Jose Belroy? That's just I like the shattered effect of this cover. Looks like he's in a lot of pain, but I do like the shatter effect of that. It's pretty cool for me.
I like that too. Yep.
Yeah. The middle one is Deadman Volume 2, number 4. And let's see, the cover artist for this was Jose Garcia Lopez.
It sure was. Yep.
And I like this cover because you got the flames look pretty wicked going on. The guy's got this weird gun that's like having no effect. As you're trying to shoot a ghost, that's kind of dumb in itself. But I also like, if you notice that the Deadman title is also being warped by the gun as well.
Yeah.
And you can see part of him is also changing colors as well, but it looks like it's having no effect whatsoever. So this was just a cool cover. And lastly, I've got Deadman Volume 1, number 3. This is a Neil Adams cover, and this is just wicked with him just being all ghostly. These other two issues, it doesn't look like a ghost so much, but in this one, he does. And you got the hook here in the foreground, which is just pretty wicked. So that's why I made my top covers.
I like it.
Thank you.
And that Deadman series there, that's when the first time they reprinted those. The first time they reprinted those. So
Right. All right, Uncle Gary, talk about your top covers.
Oh, that middle one is so good.
Yeah, that is. I love that middle one.
Jim Aparo, baby.
Aparo. Love it.
The one on the left that we've seen before, again, that Deadman series took the dozen or so Strange Adventure books, and it was the first time they had been reprinted. So that was really cool to do that. It's kind of like Sal, the Green Lantern, Green Arrow books you're looking for.
Yeah.
They did this several times with Neil Adams works like this.
Oh,
and they put them in this format, and he would rework the covers and do them like this. So, but that is just a great cover. And again, the agony on his face as his body is at his feet, and that he's looking down at himself was really great. The one on the far right is just a great Kelly Jones book. It's Batman. Was that 511 or 531? 531. Yeah. Kelly Jones and John Beatty on that, and it's just again, the way Jones draws him so emaciated is just a really cool stylistic approach to that character that I really love. So I think that's really cool, and I love and not to mention he draws a very cool Batman. I love the long pointy ears on that. But
I'm not a fan of the big pointy ears.
Oh,
okay.
I like it. I like it a lot. And the one that I like the best of those is the one in the middle, the Phantom Stranger, number 33 by one of my personal favorites, Jim Aparo.
Yeah.
The Phantom Stranger and Deadman have an antagonistic relationship, and everything you need to know about that relationship is in that photo. From the look at the balled up fist by the Phantom Stranger and Deadman. And Deadman coming through the mausoleum is just pissed. He is pissed. Look at that rage on his face.
Look at that
So-
granite
He wants
chin.
to kick some ass.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I just think I love how that cover is. I mean that to me is one of my from Aparo is one of my guys, and that is easy for me, a top 5 Aparo cover.
I love Aparo covers.
I'll
I
say
really do.
I'll say that the shadow of the Phantom Stranger on the wall kind of makes me think of Spy versus Spy.
A little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah. A
If he
little
just
bit.
turned his head, it'd be perfect.
Yep. A lot of the Phantom Stranger covers involved him appearing as a shadow. So this wasn't just a one-off. So a lot of those covers are like that. But
Awesome.
but you do get to see part of the stranger in the foreground, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool. But I just I just love the anger and the rage. And that issue was actually, the interior art on that issue was actually done by Mike Grill. So
Yeah.
it was a fun story. But anyway, those are my 3.
Awesome.
Very
Awesome.
good.
Yeah, David, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of the big pointy ears, but that's okay. That's all right.
It'd
So
be great if the
Precious
big
looks like-
point. I say it'd be great if the big pointy ears, if they wrote in that he could like take them off and stab someone with them.
or throw them as a batarang.
Well,
Yeah.
they'd be good for s'mores too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, before we jump to our next sponsor of the night, I want to mention that don't forget about Super Chats, ladies and gentlemen. Super Chats are very inexpensive. You get in there. It helps support our channel, brings more content like this to you. So please check it out. Super Chats and memberships information is coming soon, if not already out there.
Everything's open already, so you guys can go ahead and join the memberships and get those super chats in if you guys can.
And speaking of the chat, speaking of the chat, I don't know who was a lot back had asked something about what the Deadman and Nightwing book was. I don't know if you guys had mentioned a different one, but the one I know of is the Flashpoint one. Was that the one that you had mentioned?
No, I know that one, but I was talking about Injustice when
Deadman's
gone, and then they have Dick take over after he's dead.
Well, there's that, and then there's also this Flashpoint book. It was a 3-issue miniseries, and in this one, it was Deadman as part of the same circus that Nightwing and his parents were part of.
They were Haley's circus, and Deadman's was Hill's. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they were the same in this one, and like Ragman was one of them, and Dr. Fate and a couple others.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So now that Super Chats now is out of the way, Gary, what's
Yes.
our sponsor for tonight?
Oh, well, let's go with something near and dear to my heart. Comic Logic. We are Loudoun County, Virginia's only comic book store. Please come see us. I'm a proud co-owner. If you're in the Northern Virginia area, we would love to see you. We've got 3 great big events coming up that we would love for y'all to take part in if you're able to, if you're in the area. We have our 9th anniversary on April 20th. So come by. We'll have a special sale. We'll have probably some goodies for everybody. We'll probably have a little something to eat, a little something to drink for folks that want to come by, stop by, and we just want to take that opportunity to thank our great customers that have been great patrons of us through these last 9 years. So it's our opportunity to thank you. Also on our really big event coming up is on Free Comic Book Day, which is May the 4th. Free Comic Book Day, Star Wars Day, all in one. So we've got to go big. And what do? We've got Mr. Brendan Wayne coming to sign autographs for folks. And he is in The Mandalorian. And when The Mandalorian has the helmet on, that's Mr. Wayne doing the acting. As for me, a little side note that I'm really excited about is the fact he is John Wayne's grandson. So John Wayne is my guy. Those are, I love those movies and am a true fan. And to meet John Wayne's grandson and actually have John Wayne's grandson tour the Library of Comics here is going to be a huge deal for me. So I'm looking forward to that big time. But please come out and see us for that on Free Comic Book Day and get all those great free comic books that we got for you. And then also our last big event is we have our fall LotCon on May 19th. It's a Sunday, and we turn our parking lot into a mini Comic Con. We'll have comics, we'll have art, we'll have local authors. There'll be toys, so it's just a great big opportunity to meet some of the local, the local folks that are affiliated with our store, and to find some great comic buys or toys, or like I said, introduce you to a local artist that you may like their novels. So people that are affiliated with our shop. So we'd love to come see you. Come see Comic Logic. We'll be walking around. Dan and Sal came for the last LotCon with their families, and it's a nice family-friendly event. And you get to, partake of all that comic goodness. So please come see us.
Right.
I will buy food at Dairy Queen for everybody that comes up and says hi to him.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
No. But I will say this. I
Or
will
just
say
go
this.
there to meet the CODEX guys too.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I did. We did enjoy it. Like I said, my wife and my daughter enjoyed it. There was lots of different things there to see and do. So there's not just comics, but you got all sorts of artists, all sorts of other stories, all sorts of other authors. It's a great showing. I think you guys got to do it. You guys got to show up.
Please do.
And I got to once again be the little devil on Sal's shoulder telling him, buy that.
Buy that.
I'm
looking at something like, oh, you should definitely.
I'm resisting you now. That's just how it is now.
Well, Damien's going to have books to make you salivate. My good buddy Damien Hill, Warthog Comics.
I know. Yeah,
he'll have some books that make you salivate.
Yeah, that's true. Let's catch up here on some comments that we missed. TJ liking the Phantom Stranger cover. That's awesome.
Jim Afaro, TJ, look at his stuff, man. He is a great artist.
Fuji, thanks for the flashpoint info, Dan. Dan's the man on info.
I learned the Aparo art because he's got to look at the chins now.
Yep. Herb Wayne was going to be giving out foot rubs.
Wow.
Is this true? Is this true?
I don't know anything about foot rubs, so that must be a special subset of fandom that gets that.
Pam, if he's not, I'm sure Dan will give it to you. Dan will,
Oh no, that's something I said about Sal a couple weeks ago. That if you subscribe and you message him, that if you're within a 100-mile radius of him, that he'll find you and give you a foot rub.
Listen, I don't know what's going to happen during the Library of Comics tours, but whatever happens, it stays here. We won't discuss it. That'll whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Another HBO docuseries.
Moving on to our next segment, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not dawdle on foot rubs here anymore. Let's go on to our essential readings. And Dan, why don't you go ahead and kick us off first for your essential readings?
All right. Well, all right. There we go. Oh, that's a cool card there.
Screaming Deadman.
All right. So I've got Deadman Volume 1. Like we said earlier, that just reprints Strange Adventures number 205. Or not 205. The Strange Adventures that starts with 205 and all of his stories in there. But it reprints them here. Has some new covers and stuff for him too, gets them all collected together. So that's why I picked that. And
in an affordable package.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the birth of the character, and then this is where you start to see him, when he's introduced, go from being the jerk that he is and slowly, start gaining empathy for other people and actually wanting to help. And it's done almost episodic, kind of like The Fugitive or another show where at the beginning of each issue, he thinks like, oh, the end of each issue will tease like coming up, next issue, he finds the killer. And then it starts off and you think, oh, he's found him. And then as it goes like, oh, it's not him. And then it, taking down that bad guy. And then leads to, oh, I finally found him. And then the next issue is like, oh, no, you haven't. And it just kept going like that. But it's great until he, as he's unraveling the whole story behind it and does finally find the person. I'll skip down to the bottom there. I got Brightest Day, as we talked about with his bad moment. He comes back to life at the end of Blackest Night, and the Brightest Day series, which ran for 24 issues. He was, it focused on all of the characters that had come back to life, like Hawkman and Firestorm, and a lot of them. And
Aquaman.
He was one of the main characters, and you see him, like Gary had said before too. He's alive again, and he falls in love with Dove, and they start building a relationship, and he's trying to build a life, and you see him. He's the one that's got the White Lantern ring, and then you see, what he goes through, and eventually it doesn't end up real well for him, but it's a fantastic book, good writing, a lot of different artists on it, but they're all fantastic. So that's a good read. And I know some other ones. I know some of the other guys will probably have Night Terrors and some other ones on here because I knew that since they would put them on, I thought I'd throw a little curveball, and I put Brave and the Bold, Volume 3, issues 14 and 15. It's just a fun 2-part story. The first issue, I actually have it on the rack behind me. It starts off, it's Deadman and Green Arrow, and then issue 15, the billing is Green Arrow and Nightwing, but Deadman is still one of the prominent characters in it. And it's written by Mark Waid, the art's by Scott Collins, and it's not some big gigantic story or crossover or anything. It's just a fun two-part story where you see him interacting with and jumping in the body of Green Arrow, who does not appreciate it, and him kind of jumping in the body of Nightwing and all that. And it's just a fun 2-part story. I'm sure you could pick the issues up out of the dollar bin at a convention somewhere, and you'll enjoy reading it. Put a smile on your face.
All right, very good. All right, let's bring up mine recommended readings. All right, there we go. All right, top one there. I got Deadman Volume 2, issues 1 through 4. Now, this was a really good read, ladies and gentlemen. He possesses his brother's body in the first issue. There's also a Batman appearance as well. But this is only a 4-issue mini, and it's a good read from start to finish. Andrew Heffer was the writer, I believe, and Jose Garcia Lopez was the artist and cover artist as well, if I remember right. You got to definitely check this out. I think that because this was a 4-issue, it's very easy to pick up and read, and it's good stories from start to finish. Thank you, Gary, for that. Yeah. So if I say something wrong, go ahead and chime in.
And Garcia Lopez was doing the interiors on that too. So
I thought so. Yep. I thought he was doing the interiors as well on that. Yep. So my next one down is Deadman Book 2, and this is the Neil Adams, start here for his Deadman run, and this is really based off The Fugitive, like we've talked about, and a lot of our badass moments. This is covering actually several books: Brave and the Bold, number 79, Strange Adventures 214 to 216, Aquaman 50 to 52, and Challenges of the Unknown number 74. Now, Neil Adams did the artwork for all of these with Jim Aparo and George Tuska, if I remember right. But there was several different writers, including Denny O'Neil for the last one in Challenges. Bob Hanley, Robert Kanigher, thank you. Steve Skates, and of course Neil Adams was in the Aquaman as well. So this was a good, series to read. And Neil Adams, you can't go wrong with that. Cannot go wrong with that at all. But my last one, I've got Deadman Dark Mansion of Forbidden Love. So this is the one where he finds in his house, he gets trapped fighting an ancient enemy of this house, and the house itself has several different characters in it. You've got one's a ghost seer, you got another one that's a book writing boyfriend with headache, you got a ghost that was ghost of a murdered woman in there, and during the course of the story, he finds out different things that certain people were killed there over 130 years ago. I don't know. It's a good read for me, and I really like this particular story. The writer was Sarah Vaughn, and the artist was Land Medina. Yeah, and the cover artist was Stephanie Hans. So definitely check this one out.
That was an interesting read. Deadman was it didn't really focus on him. He was just kind of there, but it was an interesting book.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. All right, let's go with Jamie. You're next on this one.
All right. Yeah, so
There we go.
obviously I have it from the beginning. Got to go with Strange Adventures 205. Just the origin of it and how it all went down. I thought you can't get much better than that. Obviously you can get that in collected trades too. I'm pretty sure, right, on Gary? Because you got
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then for more modern day take, I would go with Night Terrors. If you want, you can get the 4-issue event. Or you could be like me and get all 56 or 57 issues, including the free comic book day issue.
Mhm.
And to be honest, that was probably like the only time tie-ins actually felt like they mattered to me. So it was definitely a fun ride. Highly recommend it, especially those main core 4 issues really show off Boston Brand. And then lastly, like we've talked about, Brightest Day, probably the best sacrifice, in my opinion, in comics. Can't go wrong there. Plus, it's green. It has to do with lanterns. So,
the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. All right, Uncle Gary. The floor is yours for stories.
All right. Before I do that, I found the Batman ad that he takes out in the paper. So Deadman's reading the newspaper over a guy's shoulder, and the ad says, the guy reading the paper says, "Well, that's a weird ad." Deadman says, "Not so odd, old timer. That's a personal message for me, Deadman." The ad says, "If you wear the brand of being from Boston and want to bat 1,000 in my league, contact me at once." So that was the ad that Batman put in the paper in Brave and the Bold. Let's see, I think it's 104, but yeah, it was in a Brave and the Bold issue. So Batman's reaching out through the newspapers. 104. Look at that. I had the right number. All right. So anyway, that's old business cleared up. All right. For my recommended reading, Strange Adventures, number 205 to 216. And yes, that has been collected. That's the original run. That has been collected many times over. You can get it in trade. You can get it in that big giant doorstop of a book I have that's got almost every Deadman story in it. And you can also get it in those single issues that Sal and Dan showed and that I showed where it just said Deadman, and that's called Deadman. I'm pretty sure that's volume 1, but those are just those reprints, and I believe there's 7 of them. So they're pretty affordable if you find them at a comic shop, and they're also done on the higher quality paper of the day that they were putting some of the nice collections on. So it's a good bargain. But you can also get it collected in a trade or in a big hardback too. So that's yours. Brightest Day 0 through 24. That's that great interwoven story about how Boston Brand is living as a live man, not a dead man, but as a live man, and then ultimately makes that great sacrifice, at that tragic sacrifice at the end for his love. And it's just a great book and a great series. Jeff Johns at his best. So great stuff.
I like how Boston's about to lunch on the number 24 there.
Yeah, I do too. That's right in his mouth. It's like, God dang, I died in that issue. I'm going to eat it up. There you go. And then there's also a pretty cool trade that I have at the end there is Deadman, the Complete Collection by Kelly Jones. So it's all the early, Kelly Jones first started working on this character in Action Comics Weekly. And then he continued into a couple different miniseries that he did, and it's just a really cool volume with that highly stylized Kelly Jones art. So it's just a really interesting visual take on the character. So there we go. Those are my 3.
Awesome. Great choices, guys. Great choices. All right, so let's jump to our next segment, which is Best Artist and Best Writer. And these could be any two from the series that don't necessarily have to be working together, but if they did, that's a bonus. But let's go with Jamie. What do you got for Artist and Author?
Yeah, so for me, I got to go with Joshua Williamson just because of that Night Terror series. I am so in love with how he portrayed Deadman that would be my pick every time. I mean, usually go with Jeff Johns because he's a home run hitter every single time, but right. I think Williamson took the cake on it. As far as artists, I got to go with Carmine Infantino. Gotta show love. Just the way he drew him, it was just I believe it was ahead of his time. So
Nice. All right, Uncle Gary, what do you got?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I'm glad for Jamie to give Carmine Infantino some love. He's more, he's very famous for his Silver Age Flash and his Silver Age Batman. So, but he did those first 2 issues of Deadman. So, for me, the artist for me was a slam dunk, and that's Neil Adams. So I've got to go with Neil Adams with what he did with the character. And for the writer, it's a little bit more complicated. Now, for the writer, it's a little more complicated. But before I tell you that, I just want to. Do you all know why Deadman was killed? Why he was killed? Why the guy shot him?
oh yeah. Shit.
Hold on, jeez.
This
I
is
had
Do You
it,
Know?
lost
We
it.
didn't start that game show yet.
Well, no, but it's interesting because it's going to tie into the writer, and I don't know which one of these 2 men came up with this idea, but I really loved it. Well, anyway, what it was completely random.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with anything. It was the final graduation act for a guy to enter the League of Assassins. So the one-handed man. So he picked Deadman because he saw a flyer for the circus, and he thought that would really showcase his ability to shoot an aerialist in mid-flight. And that's why he picked him. So it was just completely random, had nothing to do with who Boston was or any of that. And it was just, that was his final initiation into the League of Assassins. Now, to tie it back into my writer, I've got to have a slash here. It's Arnold Drake and Neil Adams. Neil Adams took over the writing on that book. So Neil Adams is on a lot of his later stuff of the past 20 years or so. The writing, not good at all. But his writing on this was really pretty good. So Drake fell off, and Adams finished that run. And I don't know which one of them came up with that idea because that wasn't revealed till later in the run. So it's possible that was an Adams idea, or maybe this was the plan Drake had, and Adams just happened to be the writer at the time when it was revealed. But so I don't know which had that, but I love that little aspect that it was just completely random. That he picked him, from no animosity, no grudge, nothing. It was just, hey, this is gonna look good on my resume.
Yeah.
Something cool?
Yeah, exactly. So I just thought that was kind of neat. So for me, it's the creator, Arnold Drake, and Neil Adams, because I think because that original story is the story. That's the story for me. And those original issues from 205 to 216 that set the basis for everything that this character is built off. So I got to give it to those 2 guys because I just can't separate who exactly did what.
That's fine. All right, before I reveal my 2 choices, ladies and gentlemen of the chat, if you got an artist and author that you think that really stands out, put it in the chat. Let us hear it, because Tim, our own Tim the Terrible, has thrown out his. He likes Neil Adams and James Tyrion the Fourth.
Those are good choices.
Very
Very good choices.
Right. For mine, of course, with artist, I went with Neil Adams. I mean, just can't go wrong with that. Now, for best writer, I had Neil Adams in the running, but I ultimately leaned with Jerry Conway and Jack Miller, because I liked their work, particularly when I was reading through their stuff right there. So those are my choices.
Good choices.
Dan, how about you, buddy?
Well, yeah, I had some of them picked as my writers too. So since they were already picked, I'll say Jeff Johns for what he did with them in Black Knight and
Brightest Day. Yep.
And then in Brightest Day,
some good stuff.
That is a good choice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but yeah, Jack Miller, Carmine Infantino, Neil Adams, all that stuff they did early with them was fantastic. And then for artists, I mean, I got to give it up to Neil Adams too, because and especially when you saw,
thank you, Tim.
Neil Adams always did great covers for him, but when you see, when Neil Adams started drawing him, like the artwork was okay, but like every issue, it just kept getting better and better and better, and you saw the progression in his art on the character as it went. And especially when you read them all together in that volume 1 of the series, like because it was little shorts, it'd be like multiple parts of issues in each one. Like you saw it growing like that. So I always dug that pretty good.
When Neil Adams first came onto the series, they kept the same inker that was inking Carmine, and it just wasn't meshing with Adams' style. So it ended up Adams started inking his own work, and that's really when you saw the progression of where what he was doing looked so much better.
And I also have to give it up. Is that the fourth or fifth Deadman figure that you put up?
Fifth.
Yes,
Fifth.
that is 5. That is number 5. That is the
I
black
love-
Deadman figure.
I love how it's holding the mask, but the face of that looks exactly like Death from Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure.
Yeah, it does.
It looks like Bill Sadler as Death. He just
Yep.
needs the big stand-up base.
See,
Yeah,
holding a power ring there too.
Yes, because we have the White Lantern.
Yeah,
So
and
we've
there's
had-
the Kingdom Come one.
Yep. There's the Blackest Night one. There's the original DC one from DC Direct. And this one's kind of cool. It's got the translucent hands and feet.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Gary,
Yeah,
I don't
his
want to
costume.
action figures unless they're wear and tear and missing arms.
Well, I know. Listen, I understand that when I show action figures, it's a far cry from the quality that you get when Sonny shows them.
Yeah.
He shows them mangled.
I don't like
He
pristine.
shows
It's gotta
he has battle damage. I've got these pristine figures that aren't battle damaged, so I know it's a letdown. I know it's a letdown from seeing half or 3/4 of a figure that
Yeah.
you get the whole figure and all the accessories. So I
when
take
you got to guess whose eyeball it is, it just doesn't.
But if you notice through all those costumes too and all the stuff we've put up, since his inception, his costume hasn't really changed.
no.
Right.
You know, it was different when it was a Black Lantern, when he was a White Lantern, because everybody had the Black Lantern stuff. on.
Right.
The look of Deadman today is the last time you saw him is essentially what it was the first time you saw him.
Right.
But I think
Sometimes
that's
he's
the
got
character
giant
that it
lapels.
has to
Just
be.
like you.
It
man,
has to
with
be
big
though,
teeth.
because that's what he died in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
But they
Sometimes he
can
has-
always find a way to, to change it if they want. But yeah,
When he was de-aged, there was one series that he was de-aged and he was like a kid, and
yeah.
the D became a lowercase d.
oh yeah, that was in that was the Young Justice book.
Okay. Yeah.
Sins of Youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pam, you're absolutely right. Kingdom Come was a great iteration.
Did they
Oh,
Oh, don't bring that up to Tim. He want to review it again.
did they make a White Lantern Deadman figure?
If they did, I don't have it. I pulled out. I was going to get one figure, and then I was like, well, I've got another, and then I realized, well, hell, I got 5 of these things. So we I just switched the
look at
figure.
Uncle Gary,
Every
ladies and gentlemen,
segment
does
was a
not hold
new
back.
Deadman.
Yeah.
He does
Well,
not hold back, ladies and gentlemen. Uncle
Hey,
Gary
I-
shows you everything.
I want to give it all to you. I don't want to shortchange you.
All right, folks. I think this wraps up our episode of Deadman. Thank you, guys. You guys had some great covers, some great stories, some stuff that I'm going to check out now because of all this. And everybody in the chat, thank you for joining in. Really
Yes.
appreciate you chiming in. Please
Yes.
do some more. Please check out the super chats. Please check out the memberships. It really helps the channel. You got to get over to the CODEXstation.com. Check that out. Meet the team. Buy some merch. It's so much more on that beautiful website that, I didn't create. There was somebody else in this team that created it. I was just man
Sal
back,
made that website beautiful. Shine.
please. But definitely go to check out the CODEXstation.com. Like I said, I am Sal the Slab Guy, your host. And when I'm not here on Codex, you can always check me out on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner and under the Slab Guy 77 on Instagram. And speaking of Instagram, down below me is the man of Instagram, Dan the Man Kelly.
Yeah, as he said, you can find me on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art. Go check it out, give me a follow. Like Gary said, I post on the the question of the day and the random panel of the day on Comic Character of the Day on
Thanks,
Facebook. Go check
Thanks,
that
TJ.
out.
We're
And
here
if
for you,
want
baby.
and if you want a nice dark laugh, go check
Thanks,
out
Bougie.
my Facebook meme page.
Oh, that's funny. That's a
We're all
good
doomed, so
page.
let's have a laugh while the world burns.
That's great stuff. Absolutely.
And then this guy right next to me, Uncle Gary, has got some stuff going on. He's going to tell you about right now.
All right. Good talk about Comic Logic again. Comic Logic, Loudoun County, Virginia's only comic book store. I'm one of the proud co-owners. please come see us if you're in the Northern Virginia area. Again, quick rundown of our 3 big events coming up. We have our anniversary, our 9th anniversary on April 20th. Please come out. We'll have maybe some cake, maybe something like that. We want to tell you it's our birthday, but we want to thank you for being, supporting us. Then our big event is on Free Comic Book Day, May the 4th, also Star Wars Day. So we will have the Mandalorian himself, Mr. Brandon Wayne. When the helmet is on, that's Brandon Wayne portraying that character, and he will be signing autographs. And he is John Wayne's grandson. So if you want to meet Hollywood royalty, like I certainly do, please come see us. And then our last event in May 19th, we have our Spring Lot Con, and we turn our parking lot into a mini Comic Con. So comics, books, toys, local authors, local artists selling their wares. Meet a lot of great people. You might even meet Sal and Dan running around. They came with their families last time. Of course, I'll be there, and my best friend Mike Harbour, Rob Kalin are principal owners. So if you pay attention to the Ye Grumpy Old Nerd show, you can see the nerds and codexers all in the same place. What an extravaganza that is. So please come see us. And then last and certainly not least, the reason that we're all here today is that man right up there, Mr. J Dub. Thank you for building this platform that we get to talk about great characters like Deadman. We get to present stories.
Which, if I remember correctly, was my pick.
It was your pick.
It was your pick. I was mistaken.
It was your
It happens from time to time where I'm wrong, and I'm not afraid to admit it.
We
are not that to play in the future. I'm wrong.
Yeah. Just a snip.
Sal made a rare error. You know what? Sal made a rare error. I think mislabeling who picked this episode, and whenever he talks about the Beast being an X-Men are like his only errors that he makes. Everything else is usually pretty much on point. But
the biggest errors in Sal's life.
Yep, right. But back to our great, wonderful, illustrious founder, Mr. J Dub.
Yes, guys. Once again, we have something to give you. I don't care to give it to you.
Oh, hey, listen. It's not just me. I mean, listen. I'd love to give it to you too. But all of the hosts here, we all have all the socials. And we would like nothing better than to give them to you.
And if you don't want it given to you guys, go check out the CODEXstation.com. Like I said, it's your one-stop shop for everything Codex. Get some merch, meet the team, let us know what you like and don't like, and find all of our socials there as well. So, guys, go check it out. And as always, I am happy to say we will see you next one.
Take care, folks. See you next week.
Nice.